Hi guys, black is here. Hey, listen, 2016, September, when I bought my brand new 2016 F-150, it was the first new car I had ever bought in my life. And I was expecting to not have to put brakes on this truck for, I don't know, 60 or 70,000 miles, right? Well, at 2,000 miles, first of all, when I got the truck, it had 29 miles on it when I got it. And I was mad as hell because I wanted a new truck. And to me, a new truck has 5 miles or less, not 28. So I was extremely pissed. Anywho, at 2,000 miles, first of all, this truck was, at the time, it was the quickest car I'd ever bought. I mean, 0 to 60 in less than 7 seconds. It was pretty damn quick, right? Well, of course, I was hauling ass. I mean, hauling ass. And, you know, if you ever driven that's a 2.7 EcoBoost. If you ever driven one, you'll notice that the truck is extremely quick. I mean, it will get up to speed in no time. You know, it's got a 104 mile per hour limiter. Let me change that. 101 mile per hour limiter. It will get there in no time in third gear. And you have, what, 3 more gears left? That's how quick the damn thing is. Well, anyway, of course, you're going to have to slam on brakes. When you're driving something that quick, you're going to have to slam on brakes because people are going to pull out in front of you or slow down, or you're going to run into traffic or whatever. So when I first got it, I was slamming on brakes trying to get that damn thing to slow down because it was so quick. I wasn't used to that speed. Anyway, damn, there's a police in the neighborhood. 2 police in the neighborhood. Damn. Might be the first time I've seen police in the neighborhood, at least this year. But get back to it. In 2,000 miles, the damn steering wheel started to shake. And I'm like, come on, man. A brand new car and the freaking rotors are warped. So I'm thinking they warped because of me, because of the way I'm driving. You know, I'm driving like a bat out of hell. I'm slamming on brakes because I have to. And I'm thinking that the rotors are warped because of me. So I'm thinking also that maybe if I just keep driving, the warpage will go away. Did not happen. But I kept driving. I had a warranty, you know, and also I had bought an extended warranty. I didn't want it, but they tricked me into buying it to lower the interest rate. By the way, the interest rate was like 2.09. White folks' interest rate, right? Yeah, I know. My credit is just that damn good. I had a warranty. I could have taken the truck to Ford and they would have fixed the problem. But I've always, you know, I used to read Car and Driver, Road and Track, Motor Trend, and you know, they would do them 40,000 mile tests, at least Car and Driver did anyway. And a lot of cars, they would have problems with the rotors warping. You know, I remember several cars where they had to get rotors put on because they were warped and whatever. Mercedes, Porsche, whatever. So I've always wondered exactly what causes rotors to warp. So I said the only way I'm gonna find out is if I replace the brake pads, because Ford can do it, but they may not tell me the exact truth. You know, if I do it myself, I will know. Well, I put 20,000 miles on that truck before I just said, you know what, I can't deal with it no more. I got to get the brakes put on. So I went on eBay. I bought some. I wanted regular full face rotors, but all I kept seeing was cross drill sliding, cross drill sliding, cross drill sliding. So I think I spent like $70 for 2 cross drill and slided rotors. At least I think that's what I spent. I don't think it was much more than that. Also, I bought some Wagner brake pads. Because at the time, I used to work for a company that sold Wagner brake pads. And, you know, they claimed that they were as good as the factory brake pads. Also, when I had my Chevrolet. I had a 96 Chevrolet Tahoe. At that time, Wagner were the only brake pads out of 2 different brake pads I had put on that truck that would stop, okay. And they still didn't stop the best, but they stopped better than the other 2. What was the other 2? Well, first of all, AutoZone, some kind of AutoZone ceramic pad. Back then, at that time, it was the best pads they had. I think it was like $36. Ceramic brake pads. They were not the cheap ones. They was the best they had at that time. The damn brakes, I used to have to pull over and let the damn brakes cool off. I'm not joking. When I'm driving normal, I had to pull over and let the brakes cool off. So I took them off, and I went to Napa and I bought some Napa brake pads. Put them on, I don't remember what they called. They stopped a lot better, but at high speed, they would still fade. I'm like, man, what the hell? I ended up taking them back to Napa because the rotors warped. Also, the rotors warped. I took them back, and they would not warranty the rotors. They said that the rotors warped because I was driving too fast or something like that. They blame it on me. So I ended up going to, I got the rotors. I paid them to turn the rotors. And I went to my old company I used to work, it was called Main Auto Parts. And I bought some Wagner rotors and put on my Tahoe. Wagner brake pads to put on my Tahoe. And they stopped better than the Napa. They stopped a lot better than Napa. A lot better. But you still had to kind of stand on the truck to get it to stop. But they would stop a lot better. But at the time, it never occurred to me to go to damn dealer and buy brake pads. And some years later, I found out the dealer brake pads from that Tahoe was $200 just for the front brake pads. But anyway, getting back to the F-150. That's the reason why I had so much trust in Wagner brake pads. So I buy these Wagner brake pads and put on my F-150 with the cross drill, the slided rotors. By the way, I found out the factory rotors on my F-150 warped because of the freaking Motorcraft brake pads. Now, these are not Motorcraft brake pads, but when I took first of all, the rotor on one side, there was a line all the way around the rotor. On the other rotor, there was 2 lines all the way around the rotor. What had happened was somehow there was too much metal in one spot, and it had created a line around the rotor, and I'm guessing that's what caused the rotor to warp. Well, anyway, I put the new Wagner brake pads on there with the new cross drill rotors, and I started driving the truck. And of course, the shaking stopped, but I quickly realized something. The Wagner brake pads did not have the same bite that the Motorcraft brake pads had. So what I mean by bite is when you're driving down the road and you put your feet on the brake pedal just enough to kind of feel it stop. Well, with the Motorcraft, you would feel the truck stop. The truck would actually grab. With the Wagner, the same amount of brake pressure, it was like, what? Oh, you want me to stop? Okay, I will try when I feel like it. That's the way the Wagner pads work. Now, I put, maybe 10 or 20,000 miles on the Wagner brake pads. And then I came up with this great idea to try some Detroit axle brake pads. Okay. I tried the Detroit axle. They actually stopped better than the pads, but they created a ton of dust. I mean, a ton of dust. And then when I took them off, the damn pads were it looked like they was melted, falling apart, just looked like if I kept them on there, they was eventually come apart. Well, I ended up going back to Motorcraft brake pads. And the Motorcraft brake pads, like I said, you drive down the road, you put your foot on the brake pedal, and the damn truck would stop, okay? And I realized Wagner brake pads were not as good as OME or your stock pads. They claim they are, but they are not. Now, some people will say, well, Black, you just tried them on your F-150. It won't be like that on another car. Bull crap. I had them on my Trailblazer. Remember I said I love Wagner brake pads. I thought they were I had Wagner brake pads on my Trailblazer. Again, it stopped good. It stopped better than what was on there. But I remember I drove a female coworker of mine. Her daughter had a G35, a 2004. I drove that G35 and we was doing some high-speed stuff, all right? And you put your foot on the brake pedal and the damn car would stop. And when I got back in my Trailblazer, I realized, damn, my brakes are not that good. Well, I went to GM to see how much Trailblazer brake pads cost. They wanted $220 for them. See, back then I was broke and I just could not see myself spending that much money for brake pads. But what I'm trying to get to is this. People want to brag about aftermarket brake pads being superior to the stock brake pads. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. No one knows what the hell they're talking about. Stock brake pads stop better than aftermarket brake pads. I'm not talking about no damn high performance stock tech or what they call it, Winwood or whatever. I'm not talking about what's the other one, Benbro, whatever you call it. Those are high performance, high dollar brake pads, okay? I'm talking about normal everyday pads that sell at AutoZone or whatever, and they pretend to be as good as the factory brake pads. They are not. I went back to Ford and I bought Motorcraft brake pads for my F-150. They were like $90, $95. Whereas the Wagner, at least on eBay, was like $50. So you think you're saving money. You're not saving money. The brake pads are not as good. They don't stop as good. I'm going to tell you how, I made a video one time talking about this, and somebody left a comment saying that they wanted me to map out a certain area on the road and doing a brake test to see how much shorter the brake stop. I'm not going through all that. I don't need to go through all that. If you drive your car with the stock brake pads and then you go buy some Wagner brake pads, you will see the difference. If you can't see the difference, you're not much of a driver. And there's a lot of people out here who won't see the difference. But see, I am a driver. I can tell the difference, It's kind of like, I don't mean to be nasty, but I can't really think of a difference. It's sort of kind of like a person who have relations with a female and say, I can't tell the difference. It feels the same. That's you. I can tell the difference between two different women. Well, the brake pads are the same way. You can tell the difference, But seriously, getting back to it, I would never buy any more Wagner brake pads. Would never buy Wagner brake pads. So what did I put on my Trailblazer? Because, Motorcraft don't make pads for the Trailblazer. And I damn sure ain't buying them $220 GM brake pads. So what did I buy? Akebono. The Trailblazer has Akebono pads on there. And I'm going to tell you what, they stop better than the pads. But for them to be Akebono, I feel some fade in them when I drive real fast, and I can kind of smell them also. But it's not bad. It's not bad, but I can smell them and I can feel a little bit of fade, but they stop a hell of a lot better than the Wagner pads that were on there. So now I know I didn't mean to make this long ass video, but I'm just telling you guys what I feel, okay? And it's not my opinion. You said, oh, it's your opinion. It's not my opinion. If you have a Trailblazer and you go out and you buy some Wagner pads put on there, and then you go buy some damn Akebono pads put on there, you're going to tell the difference. Dre, y'all have a good day.